Welcome back to my Read With Me. Again, we're reading out of the Rainbow Study Bible, Christian Standard Edition. I really love this Bible. It's color-coded and everything, so it tells you what everything means. It has a little section in the back for you to take notes in. It has a little section in the back for you to also mark where you've been reading. As you can see, I've read all of the New Testament. I've crossed it out. Decided to start over with you guys and read together for those of you who don't have a smartphone or would just rather hear it audibly, stuff like that. We are on chapter 16 in the book of Genesis today. We're going to read a few chapters again, so we can get into the good stuff and the good stories that I really enjoy reading, even though all of the Bible is important. So we are on chapter 16 today. We're reading about Hagar and Ishmael, which is Sarai's handmaid. Her name hasn't been changed to Sarah yet, but it's about her handmaid and her giving, her to Abram, who is going to be later renamed Abraham, and trying to have a child, but they don't understand that they're going to have a blood-related one yet, and that God's going to open Sarai's womb. So we are in chapter 16. Abram's wife, Sarai, had not borne any children for him, but she owned an Egyptian slave named Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, "Since the Lord has prevented me from bearing children to go to my slave, perhaps through her I can build a family." And Abram agreed. So Abram's wife Sarai took Hagar, her Egyptian slave, and gave her to her husband Abram. Abram had lived in the land of Canaan 10 years. He slept with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When she saw that she was pregnant, her mistress became contemptible to her. Then Sarai said to Abram, "You are responsible for my suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and when she saw that she was pregnant, I became contemptible to her. May the Lord judge between me and you." So there were some issues going on after she conceived. Abram replied to Sarai, "Here your slave is in your hands. Do whatever you want with her." Then Sarai mistreated her so much that she ran away from her. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. She said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" She replied, "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai." The angel of the Lord said to her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her authority." The angel of the Lord said to her, "I will greatly multiply your offspring, and they will be too many to count." Then the angel of the Lord said to her, "You have conceived and will have a son, and you will name him Ishmael. For the Lord has heard your cry of affliction. The man will be like a wild donkey. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him. He will settle near his relatives." So she named the Lord who spoke to her, "You are El Roi," for she said, "In this place have I actually seen the one who sees me." That is why the well is called Bir Lahoi Roi. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It is between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar gave birth to Abram's son, and Abram named his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. Covenant circumcision, chapter 17. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him, saying, "I am God Almighty. Live in my presence and be blameless. I will set up my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you greatly." Then Abram fell face down, and God spoke with him. "As for me, here is my covenant with you. You will become the father of many nations. Your name will no longer be Abram. Your name will be Abraham." Thank God I can say Abraham now. Let's rejoice by that, because I keep saying Abraham instead of Abram. But now I can say Abraham. "For I will make you the father of many nations. I will make you extremely fruitful, and will make nations and kings from you. I will confirm my covenant that is between me and you and your future offspring throughout their generations. It is a permanent covenant to be your God and the God of your offspring after you. And to you and your future offspring I will give the land where you are residing, all the land of Canaan, as a permanent possession, and I will be their God." God also said to Abraham, "As for you, you and your offspring after you offspring after you, throughout their generations, are to keep my covenant. This is my covenant between me and you and your offspring after you, which you are to keep. Every one of your males must be circumcised. You must circumcise the flesh of your foreskin to serve as a sign of the covenant between me and you. Throughout your generations, every male among you is to be circumcised at 8 days old. Every male born in your household or purchased as a foreigner or any foreigner and not your offspring, whether born in your household or purchased, must be circumcised. My covenant will be marked in your flesh as a permanent covenant. If any male is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that man will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. God said to Abraham, as for your wife Sarai, do not call her Sarai, for Sarah will be her name. I will bless her indeed. I will give you a son by her. I will bless her. She will produce nations. Kings of people will come from her. Abraham fell face down. Then he laughed and said to himself, can a child be born to a 100-year-old man? Well, heck yeah, you were 86 when you had Ishmael. That's just my opinion. Can a child be born to a 100-year-old man? Can Sarah, a 90-year-old woman, give birth? So Abraham said to God, if only Ishmael were acceptable to you. But God said, no, your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will name him Isaac. God's going to make him, I think it's him, speechless until his son comes. But God said, no, your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will name him Isaac. I will confirm my covenant with him as a permanent covenant for future offspring. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will certainly bless him. I will make him fruitful and will multiply him greatly. He will father 12 tribal leaders, and I will make him into a great nation. And I will confirm my covenant with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you at this time next year. When he finished talking with him, God withdrew from Abraham. So Abraham took his son Ishmael and those born in his household or purchased, every male among the members of Abraham's household, and he circumcised the flesh of their foreskin on that very day, just as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised, and his... Nope, I told you guys wrong. This is not that story. We're talking about John the Baptist's mother, whose husband could not speak until he was born. That's what I was thinking of. I confused the stories. And his son Ishmael was 13 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised. On that same day, Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised, and all the men of his household, whether born in the household or purchased from a foreigner, were circumcised with him. Chapter 18, Abraham's 3 visitors. Then the Lord appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day. He looked up and he saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them, bowed to the ground, and said, my Lord, if I have found favor with you, please do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought so that you may wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. I will bring a bit of bread so that you may strengthen yourselves. This is why you have passed your servant's way. Later you can continue on. Yes, they replied, do as you have said. So Abraham hurried into the tent and said to Sarah, quick, knead 3 measures of fine flour and make bread. Abraham ran to the herd and got a tender choice calf. He gave it to a young man who hurried to prepare it. Then Abraham took curds and milk, as well as the calf that he had prepared, and set them before the men. He served them as they ate under the tree. Sarah laughed. Where is your wife Sarah? They asked him. There in the tent, he answered. The Lord said, I will certainly come back to you in about a year's time, and your wife Sarah will have a son. Now Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent behind him. Abraham and Sarah were old and getting on in years. Sarah had passed the age of childbearing, so she laughed to herself. After I am worn out of my Lord is old, will I have delight? But the Lord asked Abraham, why did Sarah laugh, saying, I can really have a baby when I'm old? Is anything impossible for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will come back to you in about a year, and she will have a son. Sarah denied it. I did not laugh. So she lied. She said, because she was afraid. But he replied, no, you did laugh. Abraham's plea for Sodom. Then got up there. I'm trying to read faster than I can speak. I read faster than I can speak. Sorry, guys. Then men... did it again. The men got up from there and looked over at Sodom, and Abraham was walking with them to see them off. Then the Lord said, should I hide what I am about to do from Abraham? Abraham is about to become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him so that he will command his children and his house after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. This is how the Lord will fulfill Abraham what he promised. Then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gormorrah is immense, and their sin is extremely serious. I will go down to see if they have done justifies the cry. See, I will go down to see if what they have done justifies the cry that has come up to me. If not, I will find out. The men turned from there and went toward Sodom. While Abraham remained standing before the Lord, Abraham stepped forward and said, will you really sweep away all the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away instead of sparing the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people who are in it? You could not possibly do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. You could not possibly do that. Won't the judge of the whole earth do what is just? The Lord said, if I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. Then Abraham answered, since I have ventured to speak to my Lord, even though I am dust and ashes, suppose the 50 righteous lack 5. Will you destroy the whole city for the lack of 5? He replied, I will not destroy it if I find 45 there. Then he spoke to him again. Suppose 40 are found there. He answered, I will not do it on the account of 40. Then he said, let my Lord be not angry. Will I speak further? And I will speak further. Suppose 30 are found there. He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Abraham and Sarah, they annoy me. I'm not trying to talk bad about them, but they annoy me. Like, for her to say, can I have a child at 90 years old when, Abraham had a son at 86 through Hagar, and she was old too. Like, really? Like, come on now. And then, obviously, he's telling you he's going to spare it repetitively, so why do you still feel the need to ask? There's some of the things they do. I'm not very fond of Abraham and Sarah. He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Then he said, since I have ventured to speak to my Lord, suppose 20 are found there. He replied, I will not destroy it on the account of 20. Then he said, let my Lord not be angry, and I will speak one more time. Suppose 10 are found there. He answered, I will not destroy it on the account of 10. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he departed, and Abraham returned to his place. Chapter 19, the destruction of Gomorrah and Sodom. The 2 angels entered Sodom in the evening, and as Lot was sitting in Sodom's gateway. When Lot saw them, Lot is Abraham's nephew, remember that? He got up to meet them. He bowed with his face to the ground and said, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house, wash your feet, and spend the night. Then you can get up early and go on your way. No, they said. We would rather spend the night in the square. But he urged them so strongly that they followed him and went into his house. He prepared a feast and baked unleavened bread for them, and they ate. Before they went to bed, the men of the city of Sodom, both young and old, the whole population, surrounded the house. They called to Lot. And Lot, excuse my language, really pisses me the freak off here, because he's about to offer his virgin daughters for men to have their way with, instead of... it upsets me, because what they were doing in Sodom and Gormorrah, incest, homosexuals, gay people. You want to be that way, then be that way. But clearly in the Bible it says it's wrong, and that's what they were doing in Sodom and Gormorrah before fire came down, and Lot offered his daughters that were virgins to these people that weren't even going to marry them, to do whatever they wanted with them, instead of turning them away and being like, no, what you're doing is wrong, and you're not going to have my daughters either. Like, why would you even offer your children? I don't understand. They called out to Lot and said, where are the men who came to see you tonight? Send them out so we can have sex with them. Lot went out to them at the entrance and shut the door behind them. He said, "Don't do this evil, my brothers. Look, I have 2 daughters who haven't been intimate with a man." What a sick person. I mean, it's sick to have sex with your same gender too, but still. "I'll bring them out to you, and you can do whatever you want to them. However, don't do anything to these men." By the way, I'm not judging if you are like that. I'm just saying it's wrong. It says in the Bible, it's wrong. It's wrong. "However, don't do anything to these men, because they have come under the protection of my roof. Get out of the way," he said. They said, adding, This one came here as an alien, do more harm to you than to them." They put pressure on Lot and came up to break the door down. But the angels reached out, brought Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the entrance of the house, both young and old, with blindness, so they were unable to find the entrance. Then the angel said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here, a son-in-law, your sons and daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of this place, for we are about to destroy this place, because the outcry against its people is so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy it." Honestly, the fact that Lot would offer his daughters unmarried, it says to wait in the Bible, I feel like Lot's got some issues there. I would be very unhappy with my dad if he gave me to a man who I did not want. So Lot, and yes, it was different in those days, but still. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-laws who were going to marry his daughters. "Get up," he said. "Get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city." But his sons-in-laws thought he was joking. At daybreak, the angels urged Lot on. "Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here with you, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But he hesitated because the Lord's compassion for him. The men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, and they brought him out and left him outside the city. As soon as the angels got them outside, one of them said, "Run for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop anywhere on the plain. Run to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please. Your servant has indeed found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness by saving my life. But I can't run to the mountains. The disaster will overtake me. I will die. Look, this town is close enough for me to flee to. It is a small place. Please let me run to it. It's only a small place, isn't it? So that I can survive." And he said to him, "All right, I'll grant your request about this matter too, and will not demolish the town you mentioned. Hurry up, run to it, for I cannot do anything until you get there." Therefore the name of the city is Zoar. The sun had risen over the land when Lot reached Zoar. Then out of the sky the Lord rained on Sodom and Gormorrah, burning sulfur from the Lord. He demolished these cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Early in the morning, Abraham went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gormorrah and all the land of the plain, and he saw that smoke was going up from the land like the smoke of a furnace. So it was, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the middle of the upheaval when he demolished the cities where Lot had lived, the origin of Moab and Ammon. Lot departed from Zor, and lived in the mountains along with his 2 daughters, because he was afraid to live in Zor. Instead, he and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. Then the firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old." And this right here is absolutely disgusting. "And there is no man in the land to sleep with us," because their husbands obviously, the men that they were supposed to marry obviously thought he was joking and got swept away. "As is the custom of all the land. Come, let's get our father to drink wine so that we can sleep with him and preserve our father's line." I understand why they did it, but still gross. So they got their father to drink wine that night, and the firstborn came and slept with her father. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. Where was the mother? Oh yeah, she turned into a pillar of salt. A blonde moment there. Then the next day the firstborn said to the younger, "Look, I slept with my father last night. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight so you can go and sleep with him, and we can preserve our father's line." That night They again got their father to drink wine, and the younger went and slept with him. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she named him Benami, the father of the Ammonites today. Chapter 20. Sarah rescued from Abimelech. From there, Abraham traveled to the region of Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While he was staying in Gerar, Abraham said about his wife Sarah, "She is my sister." So King Abimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "You are about to die because the woman you have taken, for she is married." Now Abimelech had not approached her. So he said, "Lord, would you destroy a nation even though it is innocent? Didn't he himself say to me, 'She is my sister'? And she herself said, 'He is my brother.' I did this with a clear conscience and clean hands." They actually are related before they got married, you guys. Just so you know, they are blood kin. Then God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know what you have did. I know you did this with a clear conscience. I have also kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I have not let you touch her. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not return her, you know that you will certainly die, and you and all who are yours." Early in the morning, Abimelech got up, called his servants together, and personally told them all these things, and the men were terrified. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How did I sin against you that you have brought such enormous guilt on me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that should never be done." Abimelech also asked Abraham, "What made you do this?" Abraham replied, "I thought there is absolutely no fear of God in this place. They will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she really is my sister." That's right, they're brothers and sisters. Ew. If I had to grow up to marry my brother, I don't know. "The daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. So when God had me wander from my father's house, I said to her, 'Show your loyalty to me wherever we go, and say about me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took flocks and herds and male and female slaves, gave them to Abraham, and returned his wife Sarah to him. Abimelech said, 'Look, my land is before you. Settle wherever you want.' And he said to Sarah, 'Look, I am giving your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a verification of your honor to all who are with you. You are fully vindicated.' Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female slaves so that they could bear children, for the Lord had completely closed all their wombs in Abimelech's household on account of Sarah, Abraham's wife." Next, we're going to read about the birth of Isaac tomorrow, the sacrifice of Isaac, where he is willingly ready to sacrifice his son. Rebecca's family, the fact that Sarah dies, a wife for Isaac, Abraham's death, Ishmael's family records, Abraham's other wife, because he's going to get remarried. And we might read about Jacob, and I think his name is Issac. That's one of my favorite books. I don't know why. That's just one of my favorite stories. One of many in the Bible. So we're going to read those tomorrow and hit those tomorrow. So we just read chapters 16 through 20, and we're going to read 21 and a few other chapters tomorrow. I'm going to upload this right now. I hope you guys enjoyed the read with me for today. It's hard for me to read about Sarah and Abraham because I keep wanting to call them Sarah and Abraham before their names changed, and then I confuse people. But they were definitely blood related. They were kin, half sister, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're still blood. It's still gross to me. You know what I mean? But I know that they had to do that in the Bible because literally God wiped away the whole entire planet, and everybody from then even today are descendants of Noah. So hope you guys enjoyed this read with me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.